The ship came from the stars on a cold winter morning. It was larger than anything humans had ever built. It hung in the sky above Seoul like a dark cloud made of metal and light. People stopped walking. Cars stopped moving. Everyone looked up and felt their hearts beat faster. Hannah was drinking her morning coffee when she got the call. She was a commander in the Korean Space Defense Unit. She had trained for 20 years for a moment like this. But now that it was here, her hands were shaking. "Commander, we need you at the base immediately," said the voice on the phone. Hannah put down her coffee and ran at the military base. Everything was chaos. Soldiers were running everywhere. Scientists were shouting at each other. On the big screens, she could see the alien ship. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its surface was smooth and black, with strange blue lights running along its edges. "What do we know?" Hannah asked her team. "Nothing yet," said Tae, her lead scientist. He was a tall man with messy hair and tired eyes. He had been studying the possibility of alien life for 15 years. Now he looked like he might cry or laugh, or both. "They haven't attacked. They haven't communicated. They're just waiting." Hannah nodded. "Then we wait too." But they did not have to wait long. 3 hours after the ship appeared, a beam of light shot down from it. The light touched the ground near the military base. When it faded, 5 figures stood there. They were not human. They were tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow slightly. Their eyes were large and completely black, like the night sky without stars. They had no hair, and their heads were slightly larger than human heads. They wore long white robes that moved in the wind. The one in the front stepped forward. He raised one hand in a gesture that seemed peaceful. Hannah walked out to meet them. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Behind her, soldiers held their weapons ready, but she had given them strict orders not to shoot unless she gave the command. The alien looked at her. When he spoke, his mouth did not move. Instead, his voice appeared directly in her mind. It was soft and calm, like water flowing over stones. "We are the Valari," the voice said. "We come in peace. We wish to speak with your leaders." Hannah tried not to show her surprise. She had expected many things, but not telepathy. "I am Commander Hannah," she said out loud. "I can take you to our leaders. But first, I need to know why you are here." The alien tilted his head slightly. "We are members of the Galactic Council. We have watched your species for many years. You have grown. You have built ships that travel to your moon and your neighboring planets. The Council believes it is time to decide if you are ready to join us." Hannah felt a chill run down her spine. Join them? A Galactic Council? This was bigger than she had imagined. "And how will you decide?" she asked. The alien smiled. At least, she thought it was a smile. "I am Arn. I am a telepath. I will scan your minds and read your thoughts. I will see what kind of species you truly are. If you are peaceful and wise, you will be welcomed. If you are dangerous and cruel, you will be left alone until you change." Behind Hannah, Tae stepped forward. "You're going to read our minds?" Oren turned his black eyes to the scientist. "Yes, it is painless. You will not even feel it. I have scanned thousands of species across the galaxy. It takes only a moment to understand a mind." Tae looked nervous. Hannah did not blame him. The idea of someone reading her thoughts made her uncomfortable. But she understood that this was not a situation where they could say no. "Very well," Hannah said. "But I want to be present during the scan. I want Tae to be the first one you scan. He is a scientist. He knows more about our species than anyone else here." Oren nodded slowly. "That is acceptable. We will begin tomorrow. Tonight, we will rest. Space travel is tiring, even for us." That night, Hannah could not sleep. She lay in her bed and stared at the ceiling. Outside her window, she could see the alien ship still hanging in the sky. Its blue lights blinked slowly, like a heartbeat. She thought about what Oren had said. He had scanned thousands of species. To him, this was probably routine. Just another planet, another species, another day of work. But to Hannah, this was the most important moment in human history. Everything depended on what happened tomorrow. If the aliens judged humans to be good, they would join a galactic community. They would learn new technologies. They would travel to other stars. They would no longer be alone in the universe. But if the aliens judged them to be bad, Hannah did not want to think about that dot in another room. Tay was also awake. He sat at his desk, surrounded by papers and books. He was trying to prepare himself for the scan. What would the aliens see when he looked into his mind? Tay tried to think only good thoughts. He thought about his daughter's smile. He thought about the beauty of the stars. He thought about all the good things humans had done. But other thoughts kept pushing in. He thought about wars. He thought about pollution. He thought about all the times humans had hurt each other. He thought about his own mistakes, his own failures, his own dark moments. He put his head in his hands and groaned. How could he control his thoughts? How could anyone control their thoughts? In the alien camp, Oren sat in meditation. His fellow Velari surrounded him, their minds linked in a web of calm and peace. "You seem troubled," said one of them, a female named Sori. Oren opened his eyes. "I am fine. Tomorrow will be simple. Humans are a young species. Their minds will be easy to read. I have done this many times." Suri nodded, but she still looked worried. "There is something strange about this planet. I can feel it. The mental energy here is different." Oren smiled and closed his eyes again. "You worry too much. All species are the same in the end. Tomorrow, I will scan the human, and we will know what they truly are. It will take only a moment." He was very, very wrong. The morning came too quickly. The sky was gray and heavy with clouds. It looked like it might rain. Hannah thought that was fitting. The world itself seemed to be holding its breath. The meeting place was a large empty field near the military base. The humans had set up a tent with chairs and tables. It looked very simple compared to the alien technology, but Oren had said it did not matter. He only needed a quiet place to work. Tay arrived early. He had not slept at all. His eyes were red and his hands were shaking slightly. He had drunk too much coffee and eaten nothing. His stomach felt sick with fear. "Are you ready?" Hannah asked him. Tay laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, but does that matter?" Hannah put a hand on his shoulder. "You'll be fine. Just think good thoughts." "That's the problem," Tay said quietly. "I don't know how to think only good thoughts. My mind doesn't work that way. It jumps around. It goes to dark places even when I don't want it to." Before Hannah could respond, the aliens arrived. Oren walked at the front, his white robes flowing behind him. His black eyes reflected the gray sky like mirrors. Behind him came Suri and 3 other Velari. "Good morning," Oren said, his voice appearing in their minds. "Are you ready to begin?" Tay stepped forward. His legs felt weak, but he forced himself to stand straight. "I am ready." Oren nodded and gestured to a chair. "Please sit. This will not hurt. You will feel a slight pressure in your head, like someone gently pressing their hand against your forehead. Then it will be over. I will see your thoughts, your memories, your feelings. I will understand who you are." Tay sat down. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might burst. He tried to calm himself. He tried to think about peaceful things. He thought about a river flowing through mountains. He thought about his daughter playing in the garden. He thought about the first time he saw the stars through a telescope. But other thoughts kept coming. He thought about the argument he had with his wife last month. He thought about a sad movie he watched as a child. He thought about the smell of his grandmother's cooking. He thought about a song he heard on the radio that morning. He thought about whether he had locked his car door. He thought about what he would eat for lunch. His mind would not be quiet. It never was. Oren stepped closer. "Relax," he said. "I am going to begin now." The alien reached out his hand and placed it gently on Tay's forehead. His touch was cool, like touching metal that had been in the shade. Oren closed his eyes and reached into Tay's mind. For a moment, everything was silent. Then Oren's eyes flew open. In all his years as a telepath, Oren had scanned thousands of minds. He had touched the thoughts of creatures from every corner of the galaxy. Some minds were simple, like clear water. Some minds were complex, like beautiful puzzles. Some minds were dark, full of anger and hate. Some minds were bright, full of love and hope. But he had never experienced anything like this. When he entered Tay's mind, he expected to find one thought. Maybe two. That was normal. Most species thought about one thing at a time. Their minds were organized, clear, focused. But Tay's mind was not organized. It was not clear. It was not focused. It was chaos. 100 thoughts hit Oren at once. No, not 100. 1,000. 10,000. They came from everywhere, all at the same time, all screaming for attention. Tay was thinking about the scan, but he was also thinking about breakfast, and his daughter, and a song from his childhood, and the color of the sky, and whether aliens believed in gods, and the feeling of grass under his feet, and a joke he heard last week, and the fear of death, and the beauty of stars, and the taste of coffee, and his mother's face, and numbers, and words, and images, and sounds, and feelings. All at once, all together, all mixed up like a storm. And underneath all of that, there was something else, something deeper. Old memories buried so deep that even Tay did not know they were there. Memories of pain and joy and love and loss. Memories that stretched back to childhood, to moments he had forgotten. And beneath those memories were feelings, raw and powerful. Fear and hope and anger and peace and despair and happiness, all existing at the same time, all fighting for space. And beneath even that, there was something Oren could not understand. A kind of inner voice that was always talking, always commenting, always judging. It made jokes about serious things. It worried about small things. It dreamed about impossible things. It never stopped. It never rested. It never was quiet. Oren tried to focus on one thought. But when he grabbed it, a dozen other thoughts pulled at him. He tried to pull back, but the thoughts followed him. They wrapped around him like chains. They dragged him deeper into the chaos. He saw Tay's hopes and fears in a single moment. He saw love and hate side by side. He saw memories of kindness mixed with memories of cruelty. He saw a mind that was constantly at war with itself, constantly questioning, constantly doubting, constantly dreaming. It was too much. Oren had been trained to handle complex minds. He'd been trained to sort through confusion and find clarity. But this was not confusion. This was not complexity. This was a hurricane. This was an ocean during a storm. This was a star exploding, and it burned. Oren screamed. He pulled his hand away from Tay's forehead and stumbled backward. His legs gave out beneath him. He fell to the ground, his body shaking. His black eyes were wide with terror. His pale blue skin had turned almost white. Oren. Suri ran to him, but she stopped when she felt the echo of what he had experienced. Even the small residue of Tay's mind that clung to Oren was enough to make her gasp in pain. Tay sat in his chair, confused. He looked at his hands, then at the alien on the ground. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Hannah ran to Oren's side. The alien was breathing hard, his chest rising and falling rapidly. She had never seen a living creature look so afraid. What did you see? She asked. Oren looked at her. When he spoke, his telepathic voice was broken, like a radio with bad signal. Everything, he whispered. I saw everything, all at once. Your minds are not minds. They are storms. They are fires. They are... He could not finish. He closed his eyes and pressed his hands against his head. Suri and the other Valari gathered around their fallen leader. Their faces showed shock and fear. They had never seen Oren like this. He was the strongest telepath in the Valari fleet. He had scanned warlords and monsters and creatures of pure darkness. None of them had ever made him scream, but one human scientist, thinking about breakfast and his daughter and the color of the sky, had brought him to his knees. We need to leave, Suri said. We need to take him back to the ship. But Hannah stepped in front of them. Wait, please, tell us what went wrong. We don't understand. Suri looked at her with something like fear in her black eyes. Neither do we, she said. But your kind, you are not like other species. Your minds are not safe. They are weapons. Then they lifted Oren and carried him away, leaving Tay and Hannah standing alone in the field, more confused than ever. The next morning, the Valari returned to Earth, but this time, there were more of them. 12 aliens walked down the beam of light, led by Elder Moran himself. Oren was not among them. He was still recovering on the ship. Too weak to leave his bed. Hannah met them in the same field where everything had gone wrong. Tay stood beside her, along with a team of scientists and translators. The world was watching through cameras hidden around the field. Every government on Earth had demanded to see what happened next. Moran walked slowly toward them. Despite his age, there was strength in his movements. His black eyes studied Hannah and Tay with careful attention. Thank you for meeting us again, Moran said. After what happened, many of my people wanted to leave Earth immediately. Some wanted to declare your species a threat and recommend your isolation from the galaxy. Hannah felt her heart sink. And what did you decide? I decided that fear is a poor teacher, Moran said. We came here to understand your species. We failed because we were not prepared. But failure is not a reason to give up. It is a reason to try again, but more carefully. Tay stepped forward. What do you want to know? Moran turned his old eyes to the scientist. I want to understand how your minds work. Oren could not explain it to me. He said it was like trying to describe the sun while standing inside it. Everything was too bright, too hot, too much. So I am asking you directly. What is it like to be human? Tay thought for a moment. This was perhaps the most important question anyone had ever asked him. How could he explain something so basic, so fundamental to human existence, to someone who had never experienced it? He took a deep breath and began. When I wake up in the morning, he said, the first thing I think about is whether I am still tired. At the same time, I hear birds outside my window, and I think about how beautiful they sound. At the same time, I remember a dream I had during the night, and I feel sad because the dream was about my grandmother who died years ago. At the same time, I feel hungry and think about what I will eat for breakfast. At the same time, I worry about work and wonder if I finished all my tasks yesterday. At the same time, I notice the light coming through the curtains and think about how the weather might be today. He paused. All of this happens in the first 3 seconds after I open my eyes. And it never stops. For my entire waking life, my mind is doing this. Thinking about 10 things, 20 things, 100 things, all at once. Moran's face showed no expression, but the other Valari behind him looked disturbed. One of them, a young female, raised her hand. "How do you function?" she asked. "How do you make decisions? How do you focus on anything?" "We learn to manage it," Tay said. "We learn to push some thoughts to the background and bring others to the front. We learn to ignore the noise and focus on what matters. But the noise is always there. It never goes away. Even when we sleep, our minds create dreams, which are just another form of thinking." "This is madness," the young Valari whispered. "How do you not go insane?" Tay smiled sadly. "Some of us do. We have words for it. Anxiety, depression, obsession. These are what happens when the noise becomes too loud and we can no longer manage it. But most of us learn to live with it. We accept that our minds are chaotic and we find ways to cope." Moran was quiet for a long time. He seemed to be processing what Tay had said. Finally, he spoke. "In Valari culture, the mind is a sacred space. We spend years learning to keep it clean, organized, and quiet. A thought comes, we examine it, we process it, and then we let it go. Only then do we allow the next thought to enter. This is how we achieve peace. This is how we achieve understanding. This is how we communicate with each other telepathically without confusion." He looked at Tay with something like pity in his eyes. "But you have no peace. Your minds are battlegrounds. Every moment of every day, you are fighting against the chaos inside your own heads. And yet you survive. You thrive. You have built cities and ships in art and music and science. You have done all of this while carrying storms inside your skulls." Tay nodded. "We don't know any other way. To us, this is normal. This is what it means to be human." Hannah spoke up. "We didn't know we were different. We thought all intelligent species would think like us. We thought our minds were ordinary." Moran shook his head slowly. "Your minds are many things, Commander. But ordinary is not one of them." He turned to face the other Valari. They gathered around him, and for a moment, they seemed to communicate in complete silence. Hannah realized they were speaking telepathically, sharing thoughts and feelings in a way humans could never do. After several minutes, Moran turned back to the humans. "We have made a decision," he said. "We will not recommend your isolation. We will not declare you a threat. Instead, we will tell the Galactic Council the truth. We will tell them that humans are different, that your minds cannot be read without danger, that you think in ways no other species thinks." Hannah felt relief flood through her. "Thank you. We only want peace." "I believe you," Moran said. "But I must be honest with you, Commander. The galaxy will not know how to respond to your species. For thousands of years, telepathy has been the foundation of our civilization. We use it to verify treaties. We use it to test loyalty. We use it to understand each other. Without telepathy, we have no way to know if someone is telling the truth." "We have other ways," Tay said. "We look at actions, not just thoughts. We build trust over time. We use evidence and logic and observation." Moran smiled, but it was a tired smile. "These are slow methods. They require patience and faith. Many in the galaxy do not have these qualities. They will fear you because they cannot understand you. They will distrust you because they cannot read you." He stepped closer to Hannah and lowered his voice. "Be careful, Commander. You are about to enter a galaxy that is not prepared for you. Some will want to study you. Some will want to use you. Some will want to destroy you before you become a threat. Your chaos, your mental noise, your beautiful, terrible minds. They will make you powerful, but they will also make you targets." Hannah met his eyes and nodded. "We have survived everything our own planet has thrown at us. Wars, disasters, disease. We have hurt each other in terrible ways, and we have healed. We have fallen, and we have risen. Whatever the galaxy throws at us, we will survive that too." Moran studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "I believe you will," he said. "That is what frightens me." Hours passed. The alien ship was silent. No messages came down to Earth. The beam of light that had brought the Valari did not appear again. The world waited in worried doubt in the military base. Hana paced back and forth in her office. Every few minutes, she looked at the communication screen, hoping for a message. But the screen stayed dark. "They think we attacked them," she said to Tay, who sat in a chair nearby. He had not moved for hours. His face was pale and his eyes were empty. "I didn't do anything," Tay said quietly. I was just thinking. Normal thoughts. Nothing special." Hannah stopped pacing. "That's what worries me. If normal human thoughts can hurt them, then we have a serious problem." Outside, the world was in chaos. News of the alien collapse had spread quickly. People were scared. Some said it was a good thing. Finally, humans had a weapon against aliens. Others said it was bad. They had hurt the aliens without meaning to. Would the aliens take revenge? The military leaders wanted answers. The scientists wanted answers. Everyone wanted answers, but Hannah had none to give. Finally, 6 hours after the incident, a message came through. The communication screen lit up with Suri's face. Her expression was cold and hard. "Commander Hannah," Suri said. Her telepathic voice was sharp, like broken glass. "The Valari demand an explanation." Hannah stood straight and faced the screen. "We would like to give you one, but we don't understand what happened either." Tay did nothing aggressive. He simply allowed Oren to scan his mind. "What you call nothing has left our most powerful telepath in a coma," Suri said. Her voice shook with anger. "Oren has scanned the minds of thousands of beings. He has touched the thoughts of creatures that live in pure darkness. He has walked through the memories of monsters. None of them have ever harmed him like this." Tay stood up slowly. "I'm sorry. I truly am. But I don't know what I did. I was just thinking, that's all." Suri stared at him through the screen. Her black eyes seemed to look right through him. "Just thinking," she repeated. "What exactly were you thinking about?" Tay shrugged helplessly. "Everything. Nothing. My daughter. The scan. Breakfast. An old song. The weather. Whether I locked my car door. It was just random thoughts. Normal thoughts." There was a long silence. Suri looked confused, which seemed strange on an alien face. "You were thinking about all of those things at the same time?" she asked. "Yes," Tay said. "That's how human minds work. We think about many things at once. We can't help it. Our brains never stop." Suri's expression changed. The anger faded, replaced by something that looked like disbelief. "That is not possible. No species thinks like that. The mind can only hold one thought at a time. That is a fundamental law of consciousness." Hannah stepped forward. "Maybe for your species, but not for humans. Our minds are always busy. We are always thinking about multiple things. We call it multitasking, or sometimes we call it being distracted. But it is normal for us." Suri was quiet for a long moment. Behind her, other Valari gathered, listening to the conversation. They whispered to each other in voices too soft for the humans to hear. "You are saying," Suri said slowly, "that every human thinks this way? Not just him?" "Yes," Hana said. "Every human. All 8 billion of us." The whispers behind Suri grew louder. The Valari looked at each other with expressions of shock and fear. One of them actually stepped backward, as if Hana's words had physically pushed him. "This cannot be true," Suri said. If your minds are truly like this, then we would be what? Hannah asked. Suri did not answer. Instead, she ended the communication. The screen went dark. Hannah turned to Tay. What do you think that was about? Tay shook his head. I don't know, but I think we scared them. We scared them? Hannah laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. We didn't do anything. You just thought about your breakfast and your daughter. How is that scary? Maybe, Tay said slowly. It's scary because we don't realize how strange it is. To us, our minds are normal. We have always been this way. But to them, he paused, thinking. Imagine if you met a creature that could feel 100 emotions at the same time. Happy and sad and angry and peaceful all at once. How would you react? Hannah considered this. I would be very confused. And probably a little frightened. Exactly, Tay said. That's us. To them, we are the strange creatures. We are the ones who don't make sense. 2 more hours passed. Then, finally, another message came. But this time, it was not Suri. It was a different Valari, an older male with wrinkled blue skin and tired eyes. I am Elder Moran, he said. His telepathic voice was calm but serious. I am the leader of the Valari delegation. I have spoken with Suri and the others. I have also spoken with Oren, who's just woken from his coma. Hannah felt relief wash over her. Oren is awake? Is he all right? He is. Recovering, Moran said carefully. What he experienced has changed him. He says he has never felt anything like a human mind before. He says it was like standing inside a hurricane or swimming in an ocean during a storm. Every direction he looked, there was more chaos. More thoughts. More feelings. More memories. All happening at once. All demanding his attention. We don't mean to be like this, Hannah said. We cannot control it. It's just how our minds work. Moran nodded slowly. I understand. And that is what makes this situation so complicated. You see, Commander, in all our travels across the galaxy, we have never met a species like yours. Most minds are like calm pools of water. Some are deeper than others. Some have currents or waves. But they are all, fundamentally, orderly, controlled. One thought follows another in a clear sequence. And human minds are different, Hannah said. Human minds are not pools, Moran said. They are oceans. They are storms. They are wildfires. They are everything, all at once, with no control and no order. He paused. Do you know what this means? Hannah shook her head. It means you cannot be scanned, Moran said. It means your thoughts cannot be read without great risk to the telepath. It means that any psychic who tries to enter a human mind is likely to be overwhelmed, damaged, or destroyed. He leaned closer to the screen, and his tired eyes seemed to see right into Hannah's soul. Commander, he said, do you understand what I am telling you? In a galaxy where telepathy is the foundation of diplomacy, communication, and trust, your species is immune. You cannot be read. You cannot be controlled. You cannot be understood. To the rest of the galaxy, you are not just unusual. You are dangerous. Hannah stared at the screen, feeling the weight of his words settle on her shoulders. We never knew, she whispered. No, Moran agreed. You never did. And that makes you even more terrifying. 1 week later, Oren finally left the medical bay on the Valari ship. He moved slowly, his body still weak from the ordeal. But it was his mind that had changed the most. Before Earth, Oren had been confident. He had believed that he understood the universe. He had believed that all minds were variations of the same theme, like different songs played on the same instrument. Some were loud, some were quiet, some were beautiful, some were ugly. But they were all Fundamentally, the same dot. Now he knew the truth. There were minds in this universe that were completely alien to everything he understood. There were minds that burned like suns, that raged like storms, that sang with 1,000 voices at once. And those minds belonged to the strange, soft, fragile creatures called humans. He walked to the observation deck and looked down at Earth. The planet was beautiful from space. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds swirling in patterns. It looked peaceful. It looked harmless. It was neither. "You should be resting," said Suri, appearing beside him. "I have rested enough," Oren said. His telepathic voice was weaker than before, but there was something new in it. A depth that had not been there before. I needed to see it again, to remind myself that it is real. Suri looked down at the planet. What was it like? Inside his mind? Oren was quiet for a long moment. How could he describe it? How could he put into words something that went beyond words? "Have you ever stood in a field during a thunderstorm?" He finally said. "Lightning striking all around you. Rain pouring down so hard you cannot see. Wind so strong you cannot stand. Thunder so loud you cannot think." Suri nodded. "Yes. Now imagine that the storm is inside you. Not around you, but inside your head. And it never stops. It never calms. Day and night, year after year. From the moment you were born until the moment you die. That is what it is like to be human." Suri shivered. "How do they survive it?" "They do not just survive," Oren said. "They thrive. They create. They dream. They love. They do all of this while carrying chaos in their minds. They are not victims of the storm. They are the storm. And they have learned to use its power." He turned away from the window and walked toward the communication room. It was time to send his report to the Galactic Council. The message took 3 days to reach the council headquarters. When it arrived, it was played before a chamber of representatives from over 200 species. They listened in silence as Oren's words filled the room. "My name is Oren of the Valari. I was sent to Earth to scan the minds of the species known as humans. I am the most experienced telepath in our fleet. I have scanned the minds of over 12,000 individuals from hundreds of different species. I believed myself prepared for anything. I was wrong. When I entered the mind of the human called Tay, I was immediately overwhelmed. His mind was not like any I had ever encountered. It did not contain one thought, or even a few thoughts. It contained thousands, tens of thousands, all happening at the same time. All equally real, all equally strong. I tried to focus on one thought, but the others pulled at me. I tried to retreat, but the thoughts followed me. They wrapped around my consciousness like chains. They dragged me into a chaos so complete that I lost myself. I do not know how long I was trapped in that storm. It felt like years. It was actually only seconds. When I finally escaped, I was changed. My mind has been damaged in ways that may never heal. But I am grateful for this damage, because now I understand something that the galaxy needs to know. Humans cannot be scanned. They cannot be read. They cannot be controlled through telepathy. Any telepath who tries will be overwhelmed, just as I was. Some may not survive the experience. But that is not the most important thing I learned. The most important thing is this: humans do not know they are different. To them, their chaotic minds are normal. They think everyone thinks the way they do. They are not aware of the power they carry inside their heads. They are not aware that every single one of them is a telepathic fortress, impenetrable and unreadable. This means they are not a threat. Not yet. They do not know how to use their minds as weapons. They do not even know that they could. But if they ever learn, if they ever realize what they are, they will be unstoppable. My recommendation is as follows. Do not isolate humans. Do not threaten them. Do not give them any reason to see the galaxy as an enemy. Instead, welcome them. Trade with them. Learn from them. Let them join our community as friends and partners. Because if they join us as friends, they will be the greatest allies we have ever known. Their minds may be storms, but storms can protect as well as destroy. They can shelter as well as devastate. And if they join us as enemies, well, I do not like to think about what would happen then. This is Orn of the Valari. End of report. The chamber was silent for a long moment after the recording ended. Then, slowly, the representatives began to speak. Some were afraid. Some were curious. Some were skeptical. But all of them agreed on one thing. Humanity was unlike anything they had ever encountered before. On Earth, life went on. The Valari ship eventually left, carrying Moran and his delegation back to their homeworld. They promised to return with traders and diplomats. They promised that humanity would be welcomed into the galactic community. Hana returned to her normal duties, though nothing felt normal anymore. She knew now that humans were special, not because they were stronger or smarter or more advanced than other species, but because their minds were different. Their beautiful, chaotic, storm-filled minds. Tay went back to his research, but he had a new project now. He wanted to understand the human mind better. He wanted to know why humans thought the way they did, and what it meant for their future among the stars. Sometimes, late at night, he would look up at the sky and wonder. Out there, somewhere, were beings who could read minds. Beings who could share thoughts as easily as humans shared words. Beings whose minds were calm pools of clarity. And then there were humans. Messy, noisy, chaotic humans. With their storms and their fires and their endless, beautiful thoughts. For the first time in his life, Tay was proud of the chaos in his head. He was proud of every random thought, every distraction, every memory that popped up uninvited. Because those things made him human. And being human, he now understood, was something special. The galaxy would learn to respect them. Not because humans were the strongest or the most advanced, but because they could not be understood. They could not be read. They could not be controlled. And that, in a galaxy full of telepaths, was the greatest power of all.